coming in on the Kennedy, but that's all wrapped up now. Those ramps have reopened. You still have street closures in the Loop, Randolph, between Wells and Wacker, that cracked window on a high-rise, and Franklin remains blocked because of that as well between Washington and Randolph. You see delays on northbound I-55 from Weber Road to Veterans Parkway. There's road work in the two right lanes. Should be wrapping up soon. Northbound Tri-States, though, Stern School Road to Wadsworth Road. We have an ongoing closure in Aurora of Ogden Avenue between Farnsworth and Waterford. They say there's a barricaded subject inside a vehicle there. Traffic is a service of Illinois Partners for Clean Air. Does your commute drive you nuts? Stop driving. Save over $900 a month by riding public transit. Put your time to better use and help reduce air pollution. Learn to breathe easy and save easy with Illinois Partners for Clean Air at cleantheair.org. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer starts next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the aircomfort.com Weather Center, here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
A sunny day, high 56, turning out to be a partly cloudy night with patchy frost after midnight, low 39. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, breezy, and warmer. Wind gusts up to 30 miles per hour for the afternoon with a high tomorrow of 68. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
38 at O'Hare, 37 along the lakefront. Next news, 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts now on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Advanced Planning Advisors, bringing you Smart Money Talk with Mike Moylan and Rob Curvin, Saturday mornings at 6.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So have we gone from Donald Trump, the Fortress America nationalist, to Donald Trump, President of the United States, the neocon internationalist? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Get your reactions to President Trump's decision to launch 59 Tomahawk missiles to strike the airfield in Syria, the munitions facilities in Syria, where both the chemical weapons were ostensibly developed and from where they were launched that were responsible for that gas attack earlier this week.
And according to CNN, they hit the air traffic control tower, the taxiway, aircraft, the refueling center. They created craters in the runways. We're getting reports this morning that 7 are dead, and none of the dead, the casualties, are Russians because we gave Russia the heads up that this airstrike was going to happen. But in return, I guess CBS is reporting this morning that Putin then alerted Assad, and so they were able to move some key aircraft off that base before the attacks happened.
So here's how this apparently played out. This is interesting. This comes from Michael Warren in the Weekly Standard, how this all came to be. On Wednesday afternoon, Mr. Warren reports the National Security Council convened in the White House with President Trump in the chair to discuss how the UN would respond to Assad's attack. Just a couple hours earlier, by the way, Assad's attack. I know there's a lot of social media action about false flag operations and this being the work of the quote-unquote rebels, which is an amalgam of a lot of different interests and affiliations, including Islamic terrorists. But all evidence from the administration, per their declaration, is that this was an Assad-directed attack. So we're going to start from that premise. But Warren continues, just a couple hours earlier in a press conference in the Rose Garden, Trump had denounced in strong terms the Tuesday chemical weapons attack. And we discussed that the other day, the last 2 days. The Pentagon's plan, delivered by Defense Secretary James Mattis at Wednesday's NSC meeting, a hellfire of Tomahawk missiles on the airfield where Assad's regime had launched the attack. If there was dissent among any on Trump's national security team, nobody spoke up. Everybody agreed that this was the option that they liked, said an administration official with knowledge of the meeting. So this was something that was briefed and developed and delivered by Secretary of Defense James Mattis, and on Thursday morning, this NSC and senior White House officials that met knew a strike was imminent, but only a small number of principals, Trump, Mattis, Rexon, and National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster, had knowledge the strike would happen last night. So just interesting, a little bit of backstory, assume that Michael Warren's reporting is accurate, which it normally is, in terms of how this came to be from Tuesday to the strikes last night.
Yeah, and some people were pushing back, Donald Trump's not doing enough. Well, he has done something. And I don't know what this is going to lead to. I don't know how this is going to affect our relationship with Putin in the future. But, it gave me great pause when I woke up this morning at 3:30 and went, oh, there was a Tomahawk missile attack in Syria.
Well, here was Donald Trump and a message to the nation explaining the rationale for the decision. Do we have audio?
Next gen up? Try it again.
Let's try one more time. See if we can get the President of the United States here.
Tonight I ordered a targeted military strike on the airfield in Syria from where the chemical attack was launched. It is in this vital national security interest of the United States to prevent and deter the spread and use of deadly chemical weapons.
And Trump then made a call on the international community for all hands on deck.
Tonight I call on all civilized nations to join us in seeking to end the slaughter and bloodshed in Syria, and also to end terrorism of all kinds and all types.
On Wednesday, Marco Rubio on the Senate floor made a similar plea that ultimately was the argument, whether it was Marco Rubio's influence or not, the argument that won the day. By the way, it is worth noting, Rubio, Graham, McCain, all praising Donald Trump for this decision. Pelosi, Ryan, Schumer, all praising Donald Trump for this decision. The Wall Street Journal editorial page praising Donald Trump for this decision. I don't know if that gives you more a feeling of comfort with the decision that Trump made, or more concern based on the record of those individuals and outlets when it comes to interventionism. But it is worth noting the interesting bipartisan chorus, and then there's also a smaller group of bipartisan critics suggesting at minimum, this is Rand Paul as well as some Democrats, that per Article 1, Trump should have sought congressional authorization for this strike, applying the same criticism that they applied to President Obama and when it comes to taking military action, which this constitutes.
Sounds like he didn't need it because of all the congressmen and women that you just mentioned on both sides were for this action. Something had to be done so that Assad knows that he cannot use chemical weapons again.
Well, congressional authorization requires a vote,
right.
not some kind of not press release support.
I'm very well aware of that, but I think he has the support of Congress.
The argument is a vote to authorize the use of force. So having the rhetorical support of Congress is not the same thing. That does not cover. If you want to respond to that argument, you either say he doesn't need it or he does need it. But
do you think he needs it?
Rhetorical support is not the same thing.
Regardless if he needed it or not, he did it. But do you think he needs congressional support?
Yes,
in the future?
I like the president to abide the Constitution. I like the seeking of the authorization of the use of force from Congress as a general rule, unless the circumstances are imminent in terms of our national security interest. This was not imminent. This was calculated. So there was time.
But it would have given our enemies time to move things that they needed to move, more key aircraft that they tried to save.
The authorization of the use of force does not have to be specific. The authorization of the use of force to bomb this airfield. No, you don't include that. The bottom line is the ratcheting up of the rhetoric starting Tuesday was also a bit of a tell that something could be coming. And, the other side gets to participate too. They understand the range of responses that may be visited upon them when they do this. But here's Marco Rubio's rationale. See if this is compelling to you. This kind of sets up what Trump said last night in explaining his decision.
You see these children? Imagine if you are that father and that is your child who has just been gassed to death by a regime. You will never, ever accept that regime as your rightful leader. And you are full of hatred and you are full of vengeance for what they have done to you and to your family. Put yourself in that position. And that person, many of them, are going to end up joining whichever organization in Syria has the guns and the money to fight Assad. That's what they're going to end up joining up with. And tragically, the groups on the ground, oftentimes in Syria with the most guns and the most money to fight Assad, are increasingly radical jihadist groups. There are many members of these radical jihadist groups that, quite frankly, aren't even jihadists, or at least weren't. But they joined because they're the only people they know that are fighting Assad, and they want to get him. They want to get him back for what he did to their child, what he did to their family. That's why Assad must go. As long as Bashar al-Assad is in Syria, there will be radical elements in Syria, not just fighting to get rid of him, but fighting ultimately to spread that ideology to other places. That's why it's in our national security interest. That's why it should matter to all Americans as well. This is important for us as a people because it goes to the core of who we are. But it's also in our national security interest. And we can't ignore it.
I think the former part of Rubio's conclusion about this goes to who we are has some merit. The latter part about this obviously being in our national security interest because sans intervention, we're somehow allowing radicalization that otherwise wouldn't occur.
Radicalization has been occurring for a decade there.
That's a tough argument to make
Well,
out.
ISIS is happy this morning, and President Vladimir Putin is not. He called the U.S. airstrikes an illegal act of aggression. And, Dan, I don't know, they suspended that deal to avoid midair clashes with American fighter jets because of this.
Ed in Oak Brook, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yes, thanks for taking my call. You know what, this was, it wasn't so much for Assad, although it was, but this was a wake-up call to the world, and especially that useless organization, the UN, that Trump is not going to talk, he's going to do. So that's what they have to deal with now. And if you want to know in the long run, this is going to save lives because a lot of little jerks out there that think that they can take advantage of innocent people, they're going to realize they got a guy that's going to clobber them. And that's exactly what he did, and that's exactly what he's going to do. And this was a wake-up call to China and all of them. So he's going to unify the Middle East, something that that previous girl in the White House could never do and would never do.
Wow.
He made it a disaster. He made it worse. And have a nice day.
Thanks for the call, Ed. Wow, a one signal setting missile strike is going to do all that, huh? I don't think so. Greg in Schaumburg, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, Dan and Amy. Dan, you began the show today with a sentence about how President Trump may have changed, and that was exactly my first thought, too, when I heard this last night. Amazing how the presidency changes you. But the second thing I want to bring up, thank God he didn't have to go to the Ninth Circuit Court in order to do this, because you know there would have been a restraining order on it.
Well, why would he have to go to it? Why would he have to go to it?
No, I'm being facetious.
Yeah, okay, all right.
I'm being facetious, but you know they're going to block anything this man does, and the liberals now are going to come out of the woodwork, and the drive-bys are going to go after low-end foes to try to say that this guy should be impeached because he's acting against humanity. BS.
Okay, thanks for the call, Greg.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line. Grab a line. Of course, we're talking about the big story of the day, the airstrikes in Syria, the American-led airstrikes. Your forecast for today, plenty of sunshine. That's nice. A high of 56 degrees, and your weekend looks wonderful. Saturday, mostly sunny, breezy, a high of 68. And on Sunday, we're going to have some clouds and some sun, but it's going to be pretty warm. Highs in the upper 70s. Got to like that. Now let's go into our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center because CPS teachers have a furlough day. Spring break starts early. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Well, it should mean lighter traffic. Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Dan. We have a barricade situation at Aurora. Ogden Avenue is closed westbound between Farnsworth and Waterford. The eastbound side is just reopened, but plenty of room to officers in that area. Northbound Tri-State, lingering delays, Stern School Road to Wadsworth Road. Northbound I-55 heavy, Weber to Veterans Parkway after some earlier construction. Also, delays on the South Shore Line. The train due downtown at 6:31 is delayed 10 to 15 minutes. Mechanical issues there. And Randolph and Franklin still closed in the loop due to that cracked window in a high-rise. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Upstream-ideas.com, the website that enhances what we do each morning on this show, long-form interviews with opinion leaders and policymakers like American Conservative Union Chairman, past and former NRA President David Keene, featured this week. Follow the Logic Man on the Street segments. This week, we're talking to UIC students to see if they can follow the logic on higher ed funding in Illinois. 2-minute warning, commentaries, dollar and cents explanation, 60-second commentaries. Podcast of our Illinois Rising program, which covers Illinois politics and policy. It's all at upstream-ideas.com.
Hi, I'm attorney Stephen Leahy, and I help business owners, 1099 employees, and those with unfiled tax returns solve their IRS problems. And I'm also the host of the IRS Radio Hour.
And I'm Jim Leahy, the co-host of the IRS Radio Hour, heard right here every Sunday evening at 5 on AM 560,
The Answer. I know you want a local attorney you can look in the eye and hold accountable for solving your IRS problem, not some big box outfit without a Chicago connection. So today we have a special offer. A good night's sleep.
A good night's sleep? Are you trying to give away a pillow?
Great guess, Jim. But no, I want to help people solve the problems that are keeping them up at night. If you fear the IRS will take away your money, freeze your bank account, garnish your wages, visit your home or job, and now they can take away your passport, you need to hire me to solve your IRS problem for good.
Call attorney Stephen Leahy, your Chicago IRS answer man at 312-664-6649, 312-664-6649, and get the IRS out of your business and your life for good.
They are here, circling over your head, and they're tracking you down. You feel overwhelmed, like you can't escape. You need a solution to get your back taxes filed, to put your life back on track. You need someone who can keep the vultures at bay and work directly with the IRS to leverage every opportunity to settle your tax debt. Mary Karpowitz, CEO of Comprehensive Tax Solutions, is licensed to represent you before the IRS. Don't let the IRS threaten you. You should never need to speak to them directly. Mary does that for you. Comprehensive Tax Solutions will help you settle your entire IRS tax debt for up to 85% off the original amount owed, including penalties and interest if you qualify. Comprehensive Tax Solutions, family owned in Chicagoland, can be a lifesaver for you. Call 708-478-6770, 708-478-6770, or go to resolveyourtaxproblems.com. Call 708-478-6770 now.
We're still on our AM 560 Signature Bank business tour this spring. We were at Big Monster Toys on the West Loop on Wednesday, and next week we'll be at a logistics company in Lockport. And we still got a couple slots left. We're celebrating local businesses, overcoming the odds and succeeding in spite of the many challenges they face in Illinois. We're giving back to the business community by broadcasting our show live from locations throughout Chicagoland. If your business has a great success story, we want to hear about it. Go to 560theanswer.com/business. Fill out the form to tell us about how you and your business are succeeding. We're going to select a couple more businesses as stops on our AM 560 business tour, and we'll broadcast from your location and share your success with our audience. Go to 560theanswer.com/business to tell us your story. That's 560theanswer.com/business.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, Doctors Economos, Gavalis, Joshi, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidisciplined practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology, such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930. That's 630-830-4930. Or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
AM 560, The
Answer. Some text reactions, 779. Hey, this is what is Hey, left, this is what a real leader, a real president looks like. The good old USA is back. 708, Syria has been killing children for years. It's okay to blow them up, just don't gas them. Pathetic. Anthony and Joliet, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Thanks for taking my call. Love the show. I think President should follow the Constitution. He should have sought the congressional authority and approval, and I think the message still would have been the same. Can't gas people. I think that would have been a fast move through Congress. I don't think it would have taken more than a few days to get that kind of approval if all the Congress are behind him on this.
All right, thanks for the call, Anthony.
I disagree. I think what he did was the best option. You try to get congressional approval, that's going to take days that we don't have, and there's going to be leaks, and people are going to be talking about it, and then you're going to have time for the enemy to move their assets.
Days we don't have for what?
Well, in case they strike again, they have another chemical attack.
Yeah. Kevin in Lockport, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, Dan and Amy. Thanks for taking my call. I just am really irked by this whole situation because it really echoes what was going on in Yugoslavia in the 90s. And, we're painting this guy Assad as this horrible dictator, but did the people of Syria not want him to be their leader? And there's these huge smear campaigns about these atrocities that are going on, which probably are happening, but there's all this agitation and media smear campaigns to paint this as a terrible human rights crisis.
Well, it is.
Follow the money. Oh, it is. But you follow the money, and there's these oil lines and supply lines and global interests about you need to keep this area agitated, and you need to overthrow a regime which has never really worked in our past with the exception of Korea. And, what are we doing? Are we going to just let another war happen on behalf of global corporate interests?
Okay, thanks for the call, Kevin. Appreciate it.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, we'll be staying on this story all day long. And then later, another Chicago billionaire wants to be governor. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Good morning, everyone. We have 36 degrees. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson says Russia failed in its responsibility to deliver a 2013 commitment to secure Syria's chemical weapons.
Assad's role in the future is uncertain, clearly, and it would seem that there would be no role for him to govern the Syrian people.
Tillerson briefing reporters shortly after the U.S. launched cruise missiles against a Syrian airbase in retaliation for the gruesome chemical weapons attack. President Trump says the airstrikes in Syria were launched in response to those deadly attacks.
Tonight I ordered a targeted military strike on the airfield in Syria from where the chemical attack was launched.
Just moments ago, Denmark applauded the move by the United States, where their prime minister tweeted, "It's good that cowardly assaults on women, men, and children have consequences." U.S. Supreme Court nominee Neil Gorsuch is expected to be confirmed today after Senate Republicans triggered the so-called nuclear option. It's a rule change in the Senate to get Gorsuch confirmed on a simple majority vote, a tactic first used by Senate Democrats to block a candidate 15 years ago. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell tore into Democrats on the floor for trying to filibuster Gorsuch.
This is the latest escalation in the left's never-ending judicial war, the most audacious yet, and it cannot and it will not stand.
Illinois Democrat Dick Durbin talked about Judge Merrick Garland, arguing Republicans were carrying out a partisan political ploy.
The reason we are here is because they kept that position vacant so it could be filled by a Republican president. That's exactly why we are here.
Republican Lindsey Graham of South Carolina says the change is not for the better, but, quote, for the worse, end quote. Jimmy Kimmel says he was fortunate enough to have the late comedian Don Rickles on his show as a guest and in his life as a friend. In his opening monologue last night, Kimmel said growing up in Las Vegas, Rickles was a big part of his childhood.
He would always ask about my parents, my kids. When my Uncle Frank passed away, I called him and asked him to be the guest on that show, and which was a tough show, and he helped all of us through it.
Jimmy Kimmel last night on his show, Rickles died at the age of 90 at his home in Los Angeles from kidney failure. Other stories we're following this morning. Lake County authorities investigating a crash near North Suburban Round Lake that severely injured 3. Democrats in the Illinois House are on board with a plan to spend $800 million to get universities and social service providers through the next few months in the state of Illinois. A Northern Illinois teacher looking at felony charges after police say she had sex with a student. Sarah Myers is a special ed and math teacher at North Boone High School. Police do say her victim was not a special education student. Cubs rally for a win over the Cardinals in St. Louis 6-4. White Sox pound out 11 runs in an 11-2 win over the Tigers on Thursday. Bulls winners over Philadelphia, while the Ducks blanked the Blackhawks 4-0. Charlie Hoffman, your leader, after round 1 of the Masters. The news service of NTB. Get your 5-quart conventional oil change today, just $19.99 plus $3 disposal fee for tires, oil, service, and repairs. National Tire and Battery, that's all you need. 5:34 is our time. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher doesn't understand why Republicans tear each other down.
Why do Republicans act this way? Why can't Republicans embrace the power of unity, the ability to legislate and make change and fulfill the campaign promises of the guy who's at the top of the party and seems determined to do what he said he's going to do?
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Right now with Galaxy. Buy one cabinet, get one free. Visit us online at galaxyhome.com to schedule your free in-home estimate. Save an additional $500 when you book right now.
This is a life-changing message for anyone with sleep apnea who is on the go and tired of dragging around a big, bulky home CPAP device. Now there's finally a portable device that's as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. You can even add a battery that's as tiny as a deck of cards. It's the Transcend Mini CPAP. And right now, you can try Transcend absolutely risk-free for 10 days. So call now, 1-800-400-9121. Transcend is the world's first portable mini CPAP device. It gives you the freedom to sleep in total comfort anywhere you are. Our smallest and most advanced portable design ever, Transcend is so small and so light, you can fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. It's FAA compliant too, so you can even sleep comfortably while flying. Enjoy the freedom to sleep comfortably anywhere. To receive your 10-day in-home trial, call minicpap.com now. 1-800-400-9121. Again, that's 1-800-400-9121.
5:36 and a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim.
Thanks, Mike. In Aurora, Ogden remains blocked westbound between Farnsworth and Waterford due to a barricade situation, and a vehicle eastbound Ogden is now open there. In the loop, closures of Randolph and Franklin remain due to a cracked window at a high-rise that's been going on for over 24 hours now. Edens is fine, Kennedy as well, with overnight work gone. The Eisenhower's okay. Inbound Stevenson slow from the Rhine to Lakeshore Drive. 39 minutes, 3:55 to the drive. Outbound 34. Rhine is 18 minutes, 95th to downtown. Outbound there is a stall on the exit ramp to Roosevelt. I-57, 20 minutes, I-80 to the merge. Bishop Ford pretty light, just a little heavy approaching the Rhine. Northbound Tri-State a little slow at 290. Traffic is a service of Al Pamati Ford. Stop. Before you buy your new car, you must visit Al Pamati Ford now. Truckloads of new cars and trucks have just arrived, and everything is priced to sell quickly. Al Pamati Ford is at 25th and North Avenue in Melrose Park. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Sunny today, 56. Partly cloudy and 39 overnight, 38 right now. Next news at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 on your mobile device. Now available on iHeartRadio. Online at iHeartRadio.com.
If you're talking about it, I'll be talking about it. Dennis Prager here. Join me this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. We'll get back to Syria, but we had some other news of import locally. You've got a billionaire that has entered the race for Illinois governor on the Democrat side. It turns out there are a lot of rich people who are Democrats.
Yeah.
They don't like to advertise that. It just happens to be true. J.B. Pritzker, who was one of the scions of the Pritzker Hyatt Hotel billionaire family, he entered the race by visiting the 8th Ward.
Yeah.
Touched the Stroger Ward. That's where the Stroger family hails. And he got right after Donald Trump, or got right after Bruce Rauner vis-a-vis Donald Trump.
Yeah, and he was wearing a nice suit, when he went to this field house in the Chicago Park District South Side.
Well, he's a nice Jewish boy.
Yeah, well, he looked very dapper, sans a tie, and he made his big announcement. These are the first words out of his mouth.
You want to know why I'm running for governor?
Yes.
Because everything we care about is under siege by Donald Trump and Bruce Rauner.
I mean, didn't waste any time there, but he is who he is, Dan.
I'm very different than this governor. I am who I am. I'm genuine. I'm going to go talk to everybody in this state about the things that I believe in. I want to be a progressive governor for everybody.
When I hear I am who I am, it makes me think of Popeye.
I am what I am, and that's all what I am.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is the thing.
Only at Popeye's physique.
Yes, that's true. Because he does look like a bloated Rod Blagojevich with no neck. Have you noticed it?
He looks like Spaulding from Caddyshack. I am a genuine person. Things a genuine person doesn't say.
Really? Okay, true. I mean, he's worth $3 billion, and he doesn't think his wealth is going to turn off the Democratic base, and he already has some ideas to raise revenue in the state of Illinois.
We've got to start by taxing millionaires and billionaires first. We're not going to middle-class families until we get people to pay their fair share.
Until we get people to pay their fair share. So please note that middle-income families,
Yes.
Once we get billionaires and billionaires pay their fair share, then we're going to come for you. So we are coming for you. Make no mistake about it. Is that clear? So Pritzker, Kennedy, Dan Biss, the state senator from the North Shore, who's another, silver spoon toady, even though he's trying to pretend like he's offended by the J.B. Pritzker's wealth, and we'll have to decide if the Democrat Party is the party of working people or the wealthy or some other, Class NB nonsense that's right out of the DNC manual. And then your alderman as a kind of an also
Wait,
kind of
is
fun
a
thing.
side note, little sidebar there. No, but Pritzker's already getting some union support. The Carpenters Union was out there yesterday, Dan, and Alderman Walter Burnett and some other aldermen
He was
backing him.
Yeah, Walter Burnett
Pritzker.
was driving the getaway car, because that's what he's used to doing. It's usually for bank jobs, but in this case, it was for Pritzker.
He's one of the only ones who have the resources to be able to compete with this governor to run for office. I mean, you got to fight fire with fire.
Really? What, Chris Kennedy doesn't have the resources to fight fire with Governor Rauner?
Yeah, I mean, the reality is whoever the Democrat candidate is, because of where Bruce Rauner finds himself at this moment, which I would say, if I was handicapping it right now, this could change. But right now, today, if the election were today, Bruce Rauner would have like a 1 in 3 shot to win. And so this is why you see so many candidates getting in, so many Democrat candidates in. What do they smell? Opportunity. That's why you have so many. And that's why they're not consolidating around one candidate, because everybody wants to be governor who's in the political arena, and all these guys see an opportunity if they can navigate the primary. So that's the interesting thing about Pritzker and Kennedy is they're known unknowns, right? We know the names. We don't know these two individuals from these powerful, wealthy families particularly well, and we don't know how they're going to hold up on the trail and under the scrutiny that comes with running for governor, as well as with the money that Bruce Rauner will have, which will, frankly, he's not going to be able to swamp these guys like he swamped Pat Quinn with resources 4 years ago, or it will be 4 years ago, 2014, of course. So it will be interesting to see how they perform. It will be interesting to see how Rauner goes at them.
Right.
And can he get out from underneath defense? Can he properly navigate this whole Rauner-Trump tying together that the left is trying to do? And it just goes to show you, by the way, that all of Rauner's Trump is the name that shall not be uttered during the 2016 campaign cycle was silly, was for naught. He is going to get tied to Trump regardless of what he says or does, so you might as well lean into it and address it straight away and stop running around the matter pretending that he wasn't the nominee, now pretending somehow that he's not the president of the United States and his name shall not be spoken. It's just so silly. They're going to tag you with it anyway. Remember what the left does, okay? This is for you moderate Republicans who think you can kind of shimmy your way around all of these difficult issues from your perspective. And in advance of your faulty strategy, by the way. Bob Dole, moderate Republican.
Mm-hmm.
No, not according to Brad Schneider and the DCCC in all of the last 3 races. Bob Dole is a radical conservative, Tea Party conservative, extremist, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't matter who you say you are. The Democrats are going to say you're somebody you're not. Do you understand this, Republican Party of Illinois? So instead of trying to anticipate and blunt who they say you are, why don't you get out and tell everybody who you actually are and why you're actually advancing the ideas and policies you're advancing, and all of those resources pushed in that direction rather than always trying to kind of counterpunch off your hind legs. This is one of the fundamental problems of Rauner's, particularly last 6 months and much of his last 2 years. And this is why he finds himself with the 27% reelect number.
But going back to Pritzker and Kennedy, do you think these like wealthy titans are going to tear each other apart, or are they just going to focus on Rauner?
No, well, at some point they're going to have. I mean, they're focused. We're all focused on Rauner. I welcome you to the race and all the perfunctory bull jive. But at some point they're going to have to go after each other because you got to win, and your first order of business is I got to beat these other guys that I'm running against. So when the race starts to crystallize and perhaps resources start to separate Kennedy and Pritzker from the rest of the field, which is not a foregone conclusion, but I think it's more likely than not, then you'll see the back and forth. And it'll be interesting because it'll be the attacking of each other they do to contrast themselves will be useful to be picked up and revisited by Governor Rauner in the general, whoever is the nominee.
Mm-hmm. And it's just weird. I mean, because I did not know until yesterday that J.B. Pritzker is the financial muscle behind Mike Madigan's political machine.
Well,
did not know that he's helped out with over $1 million to help him.
Well, sure.
In just the last year. So I'm sure he's the little puppet for Mike Madigan.
Well, I mean,
that's what we really need in Illinois. So let's vote for Pritzker.
It turns out that, Mike Madigan, Chicago Democrat crime families, they'll accept money from billionaires. How about that? How about that, all of you goo-goos on the left decrying Governor Rauner and decrying, me and independent expenditure PACs and so forth. What say you about Pritzker and Kennedy? Pritzker, by the way, $100,000 to Rod Blagojevich's reelect.
Oh.
In 2006, when he was under federal investigation, and everybody knew it.
Can you imagine a lapdog billionaire at Mike Madigan's side? Oh.
The things they could do.
The devastation they could do.
Yeah, they burn down what's left. Sharon in Itasca, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, I wonder what these liberal backward billionaires are going to say when they're told by the first black alderman to check their white privilege. The whole thing is so darn stupid, and you are absolutely right, Dan. We are going to be the ones left holding the bag because the people with the money and the means to leave any time they please are going to do just that. And we definitely are the hole in the middle of the tasty right-to-work donut. Nobody wants to be here anymore. And even though you have your best efforts from Illinois Rising, I listen to your show every week.
Thank you.
I don't think it's going to come on time here because too many people are looking over state lines to Wisconsin or Indiana. They'll get better paying jobs, lower taxes, and better schools for their kids. What else can you say?
Thanks, Sharon. I wish I could disagree with some of what you said. I wish I could. Tony on the South Side.
Hey, good morning, Dan. Good morning, Amy. Me Bella Fiola. Hey, listen, can't the Republicans run somebody in a primary against Rauner, knock him out, gets pretty much better, maybe like, Dan Prox or something?
Yeah, thank you.
Come on, Dan.
And quit show business. Thanks for the call, son. Thanks
You
for the
still
call,
have your
Tony.
Proft for governor signs, right? You
Yeah,
just didn't put
sure.
a year on it, or we could scratch out the
Yeah,
10 and
that-
put a 7 at the end.
They're timeless. Those
Those are going like hotcakes.
That collateral.
Hey, but just so you know, Pritzker said, too, that he's not going to drop his G's or wear flannel. Oh, it was so funny. Oh, he's a comedian. He's a Don Rickles, let me tell you.
Well, I'll tell you what,
So funny.
it's a good play for Pritzker to, embrace who he is, not pretend that he's on the set of Tool Time or that he's making spice racks in the wood shop on the weekends, and lean into who you are. You should lean into who you are. I mean, and by the way, Ronner is not like a button-down suit guy.
No.
I mean, he didn't buy a ranch in Montana because he was running for governor. He is an outdoors guy.
Right, he's an outdoorsman.
So-
he's a hunter and a gatherer. And ladies like that.
Well, the problem with Ronner is there is authenticity to that. He is a dressed down guy. He is an outdoorsman. He is those things.
But he's also in a wine club with Mayor Emanuel, or he was.
It's just he's trying too hard to make sure everybody knows it. That's the thing. And that's how you turn something that's actually inauthentic to that's actually authentic, I should say, to a feeling like it's somewhat inauthentic. And that's one of the problems I have with his recent foray of advertisements.
If you're talking about it, Dan and Amy are talking about it. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
When you think about spring, what comes to mind? Baseball, tulips, spring cleaning? How about cleaning up your home? Hi, Amy Jacobson here to tell you about our good friends at CertaPro Painters. Spring has arrived, and it's a great time to focus on your exterior painting. Don't deny how ugly it is. You know, the chipping, peeling eyesore of a front porch. So do what I did and call CertaPro Painters now. 1-800-GO-CERTA or visit CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. They really are the best in the business. They're clean, responsible, talented. They increased our property values. They're such a top-notch company. They've been around for 25 years and counting. So do what I did and experience the CertaPro difference. 1-800-GO-CERTA or CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. CertaPro Painters, we do painting, you do life.
If you have pain, listen up. Dennis Prager here. You don't need to live in pain. Let me repeat that. You don't have to live in pain. Chronic pain is the worst, whether it's from an accident or pain that just develops. So, Chicagoland, you're in luck. Dr. Ken Candido is one of the nation's most respected and successful pain doctors. He's been voted one of Chicago's best pain doctors several times. Bottom line, he's the pain doctor you need. Dr. Candido of Chicago Anesthesia and Pain Specialists will help you get off pain medication and all of its side effects. How? By finding the source of your chronic pain and fixing it.
This is Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. Let's make you pain-free.
Call Dr. Ken Candido and make an appointment with a cutting-edge, respected, and successful pain physician. Go to mypainchicago.com. That's mypainchicago.com. Thousands have been helped with their chronic pain, and you can be the next one. Get the phone number and all the info you need at mypainchicago.com.
How would you like to lose 10, 15, even 25 pounds in the next 30 days? Well, I'm about to tell you how you can do it for free right now. You've probably heard of Beachbody or seen their workout DVDs on TV like P90X, Insanity, and 21 Day Fix. Well, they just launched a beta trial of their new online video service called Beachbody On Demand, and they're inviting you to use it for free for 30 days. Now, here's the catch. In return, all they want is for you to let them know what you think of their new on-demand service so they can make it the best fitness and weight loss site ever created. Just text the word STREAM to 303030 and you can do 30 days of P90X, Insanity, Brazil Butt Lift, or one of 500 other Beachbody workouts for free. And that means you can lose 10, 20, even 30 pounds without paying a dime. Just text STREAM to 303030. That's STREAM to 303030 to get started for free right now.
Message and data rates may apply. Membership fees apply after 30-day free trial. Cancel anytime.
When was the last time you had a full audit of your fire and safety protection plan? Sure, you have all your equipment serviced periodically as required. However, most service technicians, while highly qualified, are focused on the mechanics of their inspections and are not looking at the big picture of a full fire protection plan and whether it still makes sense for you. Your plan was probably effective when it was first implemented, but over the years, changes in your operations and advances in fire and safety technology may have rendered your current plan ineffective. If it's been a long time since someone took a serious look at your fire protection plan, or if you've never had an evaluation audit, give Illinois Fire and Safety a call to have one of their professional auditors come out to visit your facilities. They're on a mission to improve fire and safety in the workplace. Let Illinois Fire and Safety help ensure that your workplace has the most appropriate and effective fire and safety plan and equipment in place. Go to IllinoisFire.com for a complimentary fire and safety audit. That's IllinoisFire.com.
Deb, I'm so done with today. Traffic was awful. I couldn't stop for coffee. I have conference calls all morning, plus all these reports to go through. And look, it's 75 and sunny, and I'm stuck in here.
Relax. It's going to be an awesome day. Corporate is throwing a picnic in the parking lot for lunch, and they ordered tasty catering.
What? Did I miss the memo?
Apparently. It's going to be great. They got burgers, grilled chicken, sides, the works. You know, Tasty Catering's picnic food is excellent.
Oh, yeah, I know. We had them for our holiday party.
Today, they're bringing out the Make Your Own Burger Creation Station. They have everything you can think of, like sriracha, blue cheese crumbles, bacon, sautéed mushrooms, and caramelized onions. And they serve it straight off the grill, the way a great burger should be.
Okay, maybe there's still hope for today. I just hope I don't spill mustard on this new tie. Good thing I've got my bib.
You have a bib?
You don't?
Tasty Catering's picnic menu has all the delicious summertime food favorites you crave and more. Go to tastycatering.com to peruse mouth-watering picnic menus and start planning your picnic today. tastycatering.com.
Acme Home Insurance.
Yes, I'd like to make a claim.
What are you wanting to claim, sir?
My water heater broke down.
Sorry, but your homeowner's insurance doesn't cover water heater breakdowns.
So what do you cover?
Home damage from things like earthquakes, volcanoes, a zombie apocalypse.
A zombie apocalypse? But that'll never happen.
But if it did, you'd be covered, sir.
But not my water heater?
I'm afraid not.
But his water heater could have been covered with a home warranty from American Home Shield, plus components of 20 other major home systems and appliances, like his electrical system, plumbing, refrigerator, and more. For valuable free information, call 1-800-300-2127. Home insurance can cover what might happen.
Zombies are coming!
But a home warranty helps cover what will happen.
Now the dryer won't work.
Life happens. Have a plan. Get a home warranty from American Home Shield. For valuable free information, call 1-800-300-2127. That's 1-800-300-2127. 1-800-300-2127.
Are you buying or selling a business or starting a business? Maybe you have legal problems with a business partner or employees, or are just drowning in new regulations. You need the support of a law firm that concentrates in a wide range of business law and tax matters. You need the corporate team at Kelleher and Buckley. Whether you're a local mom and pop shop, middle market business, or a large corporation or franchise, they provide cost-effective legal solutions to help your businesses thrive. The lawyers of Kelleher and Buckley focus on targeted legal advice tailored to meet the specific needs of your business. You deserve competent legal representation from a law firm maintaining a high level of knowledge about the ever-changing laws governing businesses. One that also includes accountants and tax specialists on board to provide your business bottom-line solutions. Kelleher and Buckley, LLC of North Barrington and Chicago is a legal solution provider that also includes estate planning, asset protection, life insurance planning, and litigation. Keep your business on track. Call 847-382-9130 or online at kelleherbuckley.com.
It's 5:57. Time to check the climate of your business with aircomfort.com, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Time to check the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. And Aurora Ogden Avenue is open again between Farnsworth and Waterford after a barricade situation. The inbound Kennedy has delays. The River Road toll to Cumberland, 22 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 20. The Edens is clear. Inbound Eisenhower, delays start at Manheim, 31 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, outbound 5 at 29. Inbound Stevenson, 44 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 5 at 34. Ryan, 22 minutes. 95th to downtown. I-57, 20 minutes. I-80 to the merge. Bishop Ford, 18. Traffic service of Staples. Filing your own taxes this year? Staples helps you be accountable for everything you need for tax season for less, with storage boxes and filing supplies to software like QuickBooks and TurboTax. Right now, get up to $10 off when you buy TurboTax. In-store only ends 4/15/17. Staples, make more happen. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte at AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. After an official check of the weather and our aircomfort.com weather center providing the right climate for business since 1935. Here's our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Today, sunny, high 56. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 39. Mostly sunny, breezy, and warmer for tomorrow with a high 68. Then clouds increase tomorrow night, breezy with a low 56. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
The news service of Westin Hotels and Resorts. They offer running gear to their guests. Why? It's not to help you race, to catch your flight so you can pack less and work out more while on the road, because they know what a runaround travel can be. Westin Workout Gear Lending. Westin, let's rise. 5:59. Here are the stories we're following on AM 560, The Answer. Illinois senior U.S. senator stopping short of praise of Donald Trump for his airstrikes on Syria. Dick Durbin is not criticizing the president either, saying the strike was a measured response. Democrats in the Illinois House on board with a plan in Springfield to spend $800 million to get universities and social service providers through the next few months as the budget impasse continues. Cubs winners over St. Louis 6-4 on Thursday. White Sox 11-2 winners over the Tigers. It was the Bulls victors over Philadelphia, and the Ducks blanked the Blackhawks 4-0. More Dan and Amy after Fox News, WIND Chicago News Time 6.
This is a Fox News alert. I'm Dave Anthony.
We ask for God's wisdom as we face the challenge of our very troubled world.
President Trump last night, after launching airstrikes on Syria, retaliating for Tuesday's chemical weapons attack that killed 86 civilians.
Assad choked out the lives of helpless men, women, and children.
A Syrian official says the barrage of 59 U.S. missiles killed 7 people.
The White House and the Pentagon did notify Russia before this strike, giving them some time to notify the Syrians. And according to the Syrian officials, what we're hearing out of there is that they were able to move some of their jets, but there was still significant amount of damage done to the airfield, to the hangars.
Fox's Connor Powell on the Israeli-Syrian border. Russia is angry. Fox's Simon Owen live in our European bureau.
Dave, a Russian foreign ministry spokeswoman calling the strike an act of aggression against the sovereignty of Syria, reiterating Russia's claim that the Syrian regime was not behind the chemical attack. Elsewhere in Europe, there's support, including from the British Defence Minister Michael Fallon.
The Trump administration has acted, and we believe rightly, and we fully support that action.
The leaders of Germany and France saying the Syrian president brought the missile strikes upon himself. Dave?
Simon, reaction now from Capitol Hill. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, Senators Lindsey Graham and John McCain, Republican war hawks, issued a joint statement supporting the strikes. GOP Senator Marco Rubio also said it was the right thing to do.
The consequences of not acting would have been very severe. Not acting would have probably led to more chemical attacks.
Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer said making sure President Assad knows he'll pay a price for atrocities is the right thing to do, but added the president should consult Congress. While Republican Senator Rand Paul condemned the atrocities in Syria, he said the U.S. was not attacked. Dave.
This is Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
By now, you've had your chance to watch the mainstream media do everything they can to destroy President Donald Trump. Any pretense of being fair and impartial is now history. While all these years they were playing a game trying to disguise their true intentions, now it's simply Katie bar the door. Certain networks seem to have abandoned whatever journalistic credibility they once held dear. So what to do? Where do you turn? How can you know what's really going on? Just keep it right here. We'll get you through. AM 560, The Answer.
Over 3 million businesses use Indeed.com for hiring, and independent research shows that 5 times more hires are made through Indeed than any other job site. By creating the easiest, most effective hiring experience, we help businesses find great new people every day. Right now, we're giving new users a $50 credit to post a sponsored job on the world's #1 job site. Claim your $50 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
In a world where the IRS can seize your assets and take all you have worked hard to earn, Tax Defense Partners is there to protect and serve you. Tax Defense Partners has been resolving thousands of Americans' tax problems every year. If you have a current tax issue, call Tax Defense Partners, 800-684-7777. Solve your tax problem permanently. Call Tax Defense Partners, 800-684-7777, 800-684-7777, or visit them at taxdefensepartners.com. Don't fight the IRS loss alone. Do it with Tax Defense Partners.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Money Hour radio show, Saturday afternoons at 3 on AM 560, The Answer. Brought to you by Pearshell Financial Group.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. The number 312-642-5600. Turnkey.pro answer line 64636DA. Turnkey.pro text line. Do you agree with President Trump's decision to launch the airstrikes in Syria that he launched last night from ships stationed in the Mediterranean? 59 Tomahawk missiles that destroyed a Syrian airfield and munitions outposts that were the installations used to launch the chemical attack earlier this week.
And some believe that also, too, that's where they store the chemical weapons. So what was taken down was the air traffic control tower, the taxiway, a few aircraft, the refueling facility, and it cratered the runways. And it's remote. It's about 45 miles out of Damascus, so there's not a lot of civilians there, but yet 7 people died in the early morning raid.
Here's what Donald Trump tweeted in 2013. He calling on President Obama to not attack Syria. Again, to our very foolish leader, do not attack Syria. If you do, many very bad things will happen, and from that fight, the U.S. gets nothing. President Obama, do not attack Syria. There is no upside and tremendous downside. Save your powder for another and more important day. He has clearly changed his tune. Some would argue that the use of chemical weapons, violation of UN UN resolutions, changes the calculation. Does it? Take your calls on that. Here's President Trump yesterday, addressed to the nation, making his case.
Tonight I ordered a targeted military strike on the airfield in Syria from where the chemical attack was launched. It is in this vital national security interest of the United States to prevent and deter the spread and use of deadly chemical weapons.
And President Trump sent a message that we're not going to tolerate the use of chemical weapons anymore.
That's what he said.
That's what he said, and that's what he did.
And he called on the rest of the world to join him.
Tonight I call on all civilized nations to join us in seeking to end the slaughter and bloodshed in Syria, and also to end terrorism of all kinds and all types.
You know who agrees with him, by the way, on this decision? His shadow Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton.
Assad had an air force, and that air force is the cause of most of the civilian deaths, as we have seen over the years and as we saw again in the last few days. And I really believe that we should have and still should take out his airfields and prevent him from being able to use them to bomb innocent people and drop sarin gas on them.
That was Hillary Clinton yesterday at a PHAD posse gathering on the left coast somewhere before the airstrikes.
Right, and lawmakers from both sides of the aisle agree with what Donald Trump did. U.S. Senator Dick Durbin, our senator, agrees. So does Nancy Pelosi, and the list goes on and on. So there's no pushback from anyone that it needed to be done. I just want to know where we go from here.
Well,
what is our relationship going to be like with Russia going forward?
There's some pushback. Rand Paul is pushing back. Some Democrats are pushing back. Now, you're right. There's bipartisan support. Schumer, Pelosi, Ryan, Graham, McCain, Tom Cotton. Tom Cotton wants to go further. They're talking about regime change again. This one missile strike, if that's just an emotional reaction to the horrific attack from earlier in this week, well, that's not an overarching strategy. And by the way, it is worth noting, as David French notes in National Review online today, these things turn out to be quite complicated. He writes, history has shown us there can be a cost to even a casualty-free aerial attacks. if America strikes a dictator and the dictator survives, they don't always take the message we want. Bin Laden gained an actual propaganda victory from American missile attacks in 98. In 86, Reagan bombed Libya. In 1988, the Libyans downed Pan Am Flight 103 because Gaddafi wasn't deposed. They missed Gaddafi. He wasn't deposed, and he later was responsible for taking down Pan Am Flight 103. So the status number one, you've got a bunch of complications here, right? You've got the status quo holding because the requirement, according to most experts, to actually remove Assad is substantial ground troops. And number two, you have some Christians who were being persecuted by those that would ostensibly replace Assad were he to be deposed. Breitbart reporting 40,000 pro-Assad Christians in Aleppo fear the return of the rebels, quote-unquote rebels, many of whom are Islamic, radical terrorists. They've been radicalized. From a Barnabas Fund report, Christians fled the persecution that the rebel fighters brought to eastern Aleppo long ago. Rebel forces succeeded in breaking the Syrian army's stranglehold on the main supply route to Aleppo, but as a result, the bombing has only intensified. The Christians now have to face a new fear, that Islamist rebels will gain ground and they will again find themselves in rebel-held territory where they will become targets both for their faith and their support of the Syrian government. Complicated. Candace in DuPage, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning. Are you there?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, sorry. I was really disappointed because for 5 years we've had the Coptic Christians, all this massive, hundreds of thousands of Christians being completely obliterated every day. Nobody seemed to give a hoot, okay? And now it's the children. It sounds like Illinois baloney. I know it was terrible. I don't think that he did it, okay?
No.
And if Lindsey Graham tells me for sure he did it, then I think he for sure did not do it.
The Trump administration is saying Assad was responsible, so let's just start from there.
Okay, well, whatever. But if it's really about the children and that's the precedent for doing this, then why didn't we do that everywhere else?
Right. Thanks for the call, Candace. I mean, this is the question. Is this a humanitarian mission or a humanitarian interest that we have, I should say, and thus the mission should be humanitarian-oriented, or is it a military and political mission? Rexon yesterday, before the strike, talked about Assad's future as the head of Syria, but was careful to say it is a political process, not military action, that will end Assad's reign.
Well, the process by which Assad would leave is something that I think requires an international community effort, both to first defeat ISIS within Syria, to stabilize the Syrian country, to avoid further civil war, and then to work collectively with our partners around the world through a political process that would lead to Assad leaving.
So will you and President Trump organize an international coalition to remove Assad?
Those steps are underway.
Assad's not going anywhere because Assad's biggest ally and friend is Vladimir Putin. And Putin, by the way, is very upset, said it's called it an illegal act of aggression. And he's on Assad's side saying that the rebels are the ones who use the chemical weapons, not the Syrian government.
Well, I guess one thing we can take away from this is, soft pedaling Russia. Not in this case.
No, you're right.
A toady of the authoritarian Putin regime? I guess not.
In America, we use a military-to-military hotline to warn Russia 30 minutes in advance. But the Trump administration saying this morning it's likely that Russia alerted the Syrians about the incoming strikes.
Well, so here's the thing.
So they can move some aircraft, but we still got down 9 Air Force planes.
An isolated military strike, what does that accomplish? I mean, if...
Sends a message. I mean...
I'm not sure it does. The problem that America's had in the last 30 years is we are kind of always half pregnant with these military engagements. And even where we've been wildly successful, like in Gulf War I, we stopped short. Mm-hmm. And, I was a supporter of the authorization of the use of force in Iraq after 9/11 and 2003.
And I try and go back and learn some lessons from that, because now we're 14 years removed from that. And where do we find Iraq in the wake of Saddam Hussein? It seems to me that there are humanitarian missions that we can go on and have a moral obligation to go on when Saddam Hussein is gassing the Kurds, or there is a genocide in Darfur, or Assad is gassing children in Syria. And we can work with, our allies, even in the region, like King Abdullah of Jordan, to provide humanitarian relief to get people out who want out. But if you want to depose these regimes or fundamentally change the landscape there, look, you have to turn Raqqa into a parking lot. You have to deploy ground forces. I have yet to hear somebody suggest how this can be changed, these dictatorial regimes, these repressive regimes, strictly through bombing campaigns. The Balkans was kind of a special case, but certainly it wasn't just our air cover that was decisive. It was helpful, but it was the forces on the ground. It's a different situation with the civil war in Syria, just as it is with the sectarian tensions in Iraq and Iran's involvement there. These are all like multivariate, three-dimensional chess problems. And to suggest because we saw something horrific that we're going to do signaling, it's almost like military virtue signaling. We're going to send a strike, but that's as far as we'll go. That's the extent to which we'll get our hands dirty. And this was the point that Fareed Zakaria made yesterday as well. Do we have the Zakaria clip? All right, we'll effort that. It'll take some calls. Kevin in Northfield, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, Dan and Amy, 3 quick points. Number one, Trump ran against foreign entanglements along the lines of what George Washington warned us to get involved in. It proves the point that 100,000 bureaucrats run Washington, D.C. when they can flip the president. You'll remember that W. Bush came in with his Secretary of State saying, if you broke it, you own it. And then he becomes the biggest foreign entanglement guy as well. So the president doesn't really run things. These bureaucrats do.
Well, I mean, that's up to the president. The president is the person who makes the call. So they run things to the extent that the president lets them run things. So Trump is not some innocent bystander here. No president is.
Good point. Point number 2, it was an illegal act. How come no one, Michael Madigan is strangling us, no one's coming and bombing him?
Okay. All right.
I
Thanks for that call,
little off the rails,
yeah. But there are questions. I mean, so how will deposing Assad make us safer? How will it make us safer? You have to answer that question if you want to deploy military resources.
And do we want to get Assad out of power first, or do we want to defeat ISIS? And can we work with Russia to defeat ISIS?
How long will it take to achieve political victory that Rexon talked about? The political process that will lead to Assad's ouster. What resources are required to achieve that political victory? There's a lot of questions that demand answers when you're talking about committing resources. And if I learned something from my, frankly, unilateral support of the authorization use of force in 2003 in Iraq, it's ask all of these difficult questions and make people think about the complicated answers before you launch, before you deploy. Let's learn some lessons, myself included, from the last 14 years of war. Jordan in Forest Park, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Dan and Amy, isn't this the sort of thing that you would have expected under the Obama administration? Let's do a quick little strike. It'll get some publicity, but we're not going to really do anything significant. We don't have the resources, we don't have the will, but maybe it'll go away. I think that the problem with this whole thing is, you should look at that German word, realpolitik. And would you rather have a brutal dictator like Assad, or would you like to have a country completely fragmented I wonder what Israel would actually like to see.
Well, Israel's
responded.
Yeah, but Netanyahu supports this strike.
He supports the strike, but what when the United States says they are going to have regime change? I mean, that was a statement made. What is it going to look like? Nobody really knows. Nobody really knows.
That's right.
You know, I think I'd rather have a dictator rather than have ISIS controlling a country. What do you think?
Yeah, thanks for the call, Jordan. I mean, there's apparently a lot of Christians in Aleppo who agree with you. So yeah, that's something. Also, this is also a little bit concerning too. Rexon telling reporters that missile strikes do not represent a change in U.S. policy towards Syria.
It would.
How's that? When you attack a sovereign nation, and you weren't previously attacking them, that is by definition a change in policy. So, you know, this is where kind of you start to ask questions about left hand, right hand. Are they synchronized? David in Lake Forest, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning. You know, the problem with Syria, it's not just Russia that's involved. Iran is involved. Turkey is involved. I mean, the major players in the region all have a big stake in this. The United States needs to put pressure on France and Germany, the two big players in Europe. Syria is a lot closer to them than it is to America. America needs to sit this out and learn the lessons we learned in Iraq. There's nothing for us to win here. Yes, there's a humanitarian situation involved, but foreign policy-wise, regime change-wise, this is a lose-lose for America.
Thanks for the call,
Well,
David.
Turkish officials this morning are asking for a no-fly zone, similar to what we had in Iraq, to try and keep chemical weapons out. The Prime Minister of Israel just tweeted in both word and action, POTUS sent a strong and clear message today that the use of and spread of chemical weapons will not be tolerated. So we're getting mixed reaction from leaders all over the world.
Well, it also, too, I mean, the Turks, I mean, Erdogan, he's not our friend.
No.
Erdogan is an Islamist. And you see what's happening in Turkey. He is a repressive, authoritarian figure as well. Now, he hasn't gassed his own people, but there's a lot of suggestion that he fomented that quote-unquote coup for the purposes of eliminating political opposition. And, oh, by the way, how many journalists has he imprisoned? So, you know, this idea that it's so easy to stake out the moral high ground because of the images and the horrific nature of that gas attack. I go back again to say you can do humanitarian work without utilizing military resources other than for example, to protect safe zones in places like Jordan and assist our ally, King Abdullah. That's a different conversation. And it's also a different approach. And this is, look, I mean, there's a lot of strange bedfellows in all this. Hillary is agreeing with Trump, and Schumer's agreeing with, you know, McCain and Graham and Tom Cotton, for gosh sakes. So this is complicated, and I set that up to say I kind of agree with what Fareed Zakaria said yesterday on CNN.
This is one action, as I was saying, is one relatively small military action. It's quite intelligent. It's quite effective. It does send a signal. But military force is not primarily an instrument for kind of emotional outburst or signaling something. It is in purpose of a political strategy. And it's not clear what the political strategy here is.
It's not clear to me. You know, if it's clear to you, please call in and enlighten us.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Plenty of sunshine today, a high of 56 degrees, and your weekend looks spectacular. Really, no complaints. Saturday, mostly sunny, breezy, warmer, a high of 68 degrees. And then on Sunday, get out your swimwear, your summer wear as well, because it's going to be clouds and some sun, a high in the upper 70s. Let's get those travel times in our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Spring break starts early. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Let's hope it does. With respect to traffic, right now it's kind of the usual thing on the Edens. A little heavy now, Peterson to the junction. 22 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose outbound 21. The candidate 27 minutes, O'Hare to downtown outbound. How's this? Just 20, no delays. The Eisenhower inbound. Slow Mannheim to Harlem. 36 minutes, Thorndale to the post office. Outbound 33. Stevenson lighter than normal for this time. It's 42 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, and fine outbound. Ryan, 26 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, Bishop Ford, both 20 minutes from I-80 to the merge. Southbound Lakeshore Drive, a little heavy, 18th to the Stevenson. The northbound Tri-State has mild delays, 87th to the 83rd Street toll. After the Reagan tollway to the Eisenhower, the other tollways are good. Northwest Indiana's fine. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
The website upstream-ideas.com, premium content that complements what we do each morning on this show, long-form interviews with opinion leaders and policymakers, podcasts of our Illinois Rising program, which covers state of Illinois politics and policy. We'll do a little local election postmortem on this Sunday's program. Follow the Logic Man on the Street interviews this week featuring UIC students and testing them to see if they can follow the logic on higher ed funding in Illinois, which they actually do a pretty good job. As well as dollars and cents, commentaries, 2-minute warnings about bad actors in public offices, and 60-second commentaries from yours truly. Go to upstream-ideas.com and sign up today.
Mimi Järvi and the Chicago Symphony Orchestra return to Edmund Memorial Chapel at Wheaton College Friday, April 21st. The program opens with Arvo Pärt's Fratre, followed by Bartók's first violin concerto featuring CSO concertmaster Robert Chen. Closing the program is Beethoven's Pastoral Symphony. Don't miss the CSO at Edmund Memorial Chapel at Wheaton College Friday, April 21st. For tickets, visit cso.org.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, let's take some more calls on Syria, getting your reaction to Trump's decision to launch airstrikes last night. Kevin in Lake Zurich, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning, Amy. Good morning, Dan.
Morning.
I see the message as being fairly clear. It's to Assad. The message being, we're not saying you can't be in charge. We're not saying you can't run your country. We're not even saying you can't fight with your own people. But what we are saying is that you cannot use chemical weapons on your people. I think that's the message.
Yeah, okay. But I mean, but Kevin, just hold on a second. So, but barrel bombing or murdering your own people by other means, we're going to shrug our shoulders?
I'm not saying I agree with the position, but I don't think we have the temerity yet to step in and start making those decisions. I don't agree with it, but
yeah.
I think this message is just don't use chemical weapons, and we're going to step off.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. Thanks for the call, Kevin.
Or do you think it's a way for President Trump to, flex his muscles, show that he's in charge, let the world know, like Kim Jong-un, who's probably going to have some more ballistic missile tests today, let them know that we're here and we're not going to tolerate it?
Yeah.
Is there any, not ego involved, but just a show of force, a show of power and control?
Well, there's a couple of things here. I mean, I don't want to be too cynical, but you've got neocon influence in the administration, even though you've got also a lot of Fortress America types there. So that's part of it. That's something that goes into understanding the decision-making process. You have Donald Trump's emotional reaction, I think, genuinely horrified by that gas attack and feeling like he needs to do something. Right. So that inclination, which is a good inclination, I feel I'm the president of the United States. I can't be helpless in the wake of such horror. So I get that. And then there's the political calculation. We're dealing with a politician. We're dealing in a political environment. And what does this strike do? It's a unifying event. It's that generates bipartisan support. It accomplishes something that shows American strength temporarily with bipartisan support and limited downside in terms of casualties because it was a successful strike. And it gets people focused on this rather than perhaps some other domestic policy agenda items that are flailing at the moment.
Okay, wag the dog.
Well, I mean, I know that's the criticism.
House of Cards.
Well, I know that's the
right.
criticism, but I'm not saying that's the primary motive. Let's do this missile strike so we don't have to talk about Obamacare replace. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying with every decision, there is somebody in the room that offers up an analysis of the political impact when you're talking about a politician from the lowest level to the highest level. I've been in enough of those rooms, and it certainly happens at the presidential level where the politics is as intense as it is anywhere in the world. So I'm just saying that has to be factored in terms of how you think these things come to be. Alan in Dyer, Indiana.
Hey, good morning. I just want to point out the fact that not only was Trump putting Russia on notice that he better get a stop, but he went straight from ordering that attack to sitting down to dinner with the Chinese president and telling, it's a message to him, he better get North Korea under control because there's a new sheriff in town and America's not going to sit back and let things happen anymore.
Yeah, thanks for the call in. I'm not that message only works if those world leaders believe that America is committed to doing whatever it takes to affect the political result they want in Syria or anywhere else. And if I'm President Xi or Kim Jong-un, and I've watched America over the last couple of decades, despite all of the bellicose rhetoric coming from many Senate Republicans right now, do I really believe there is the appetite to, for example, deploy ground troops in Syria? Do I really believe that there is the appetite to do some kind of evac of as much of Syria as you can and just level the place? I don't think so. So how much of, virtue signaling, even with Tomahawk missiles, only gets you so far. Corbin in Ottawa, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, Dan, Amy, great show. Just thinking outside the box a little bit. Does anybody find it odd that Hillary Clinton came out before the attack saying that she would bomb the airfield? I mean, almost like she was tipped off before Trump makes this decision to attack Syria.
Now, a lot of political pundits were saying that yesterday, that you should take out the runways. That's if you want to make sure that those planes don't get up in the air to drop the chemical weapons, take out the airfield.
Yeah, thanks.
And that's what they did, and they took out 9 Syrian planes.
Thanks for the call, Corbin. I mean, Hillary, she was addressing that in her speech yesterday because of it being in the news, because of what Trump said on Wednesday and so forth. So, no, I don't think they're in communication, or at least, God, I hope they're not.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
Acme Home Insurance.
Yes, I'd like to make a claim.
What are you wanting to claim, sir?
My water heater broke down.
Sorry, but your homeowner's insurance doesn't cover water heater breakdowns.
So what do you cover?
Home damage from things like earthquakes, volcanoes, a zombie apocalypse.
A zombie apocalypse? But that'll never happen.
But if it did, you'd be covered, sir.
But not my water heater?
I'm afraid not.
But his water heater could have been covered with a home warranty from American Home Shield, plus components of 20 other major home systems and appliances, like his electrical system, plumbing, refrigerator, and more. For valuable free information, call 1-800-300-2127. Home insurance can cover what might happen.
Zombies are coming!
But a home warranty helps cover what will happen.
Now the dryer won't work.
Life happens. Have a plan. Get a home warranty from American Home Shield. For valuable free information, call 1-800-300-2127. That's 1-800-300-2127. 1-800-300-2127.
Hey, spring is here, the birds, the bees, and oh yes, seasonal allergies. And the last thing you need is a pillow you're allergic to. And guess what? My Pillow, it's hypoallergenic. So a good night's sleep is so important for your health, and you'll get that with a My Pillow. And for the month of April, you'll receive the 50% discount on the My Pillow 4-pack. That's 2 premium My Pillows and 2 Go Anywhere My Pillows, all for the price of 1. And with a My Pillow, you can move the patent fill to give you the support you need regardless of sleep position. It's washable, dryable, made in the good old US of A, and it has a 10-year warranty and a 60-day money-back guarantee. Plus, if you have a dog or a cat, there's some dog beds there that you can buy as well. Just go to mypillow.com, type Amy in that promo code, AMY, to get your 50% off the 4-pack, or call 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201.
AM 560, The Answer.
And coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer,
Confirmation Day for Judge Gorsuch.
And later, Caitlyn Jenner has a new gig, new job that's similar to what we might be doing here. We'll explain. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
34 degrees. The president says he ordered airstrikes in Syria to end the slaughter and bloodshed taking place in that country.
Tonight, I call on all civilized nations to join us in seeking to end the slaughter and bloodshed in Syria.
U.S. warships in the Mediterranean fired nearly 60 missiles at a base where the U.S. says Syrian forces launched a chemical attack on civilians earlier this week. The Senate expected to confirm Supreme Court nominee Neil Gorsuch today after Republicans triggered a rule change in the Senate. Republican John Cornyn.
The Senate has just restored itself to an almost unbroken tradition of never filibustering judges.
The GOP majority maneuvered to change rules to end debate on Gorsuch by a simple majority vote. Democrats had blocked such a move. Samsung expects its best quarterly profit in 3 years. The South Korean giant estimates a first quarter profit of $9 billion. This, of course, a comeback year for the tech giant after it was forced to pull its Galaxy Note 7 smartphone because it could catch fire. A Chicago man accused of raping and killing a woman in 2007 due in bond court today. Antonio Smith was arrested Wednesday and charged with sexual assault and murder in the case of Shirley Morgan on the South Side. He's also a suspect in 2 other incidents in 2002 and 2010. Traffic flowing again on Ogden Avenue in Aurora after a police standoff early this morning. Authorities say that route was temporarily shut down between Farnsworth and Waterford Drive because of a person barricaded inside a vehicle. Situation apparently resolved, and lanes have been reopened. Cubs rally to beat the Cardinals in St. Louis, 6-4. Sox pound out an 11-2 victory over the Tigers. Playoff hopes still alive for your Bulls, winners over the 76ers, 102-90. Blackhawks have no problems. They're resting up for the playoffs, and they fall in Anaheim 4-0. Charlie Hoffman was too hot to catch. Dustin Johnson too sore to play. Hoffman, your first-round leader at the Masters. Johnson hurt his lower back Wednesday, falling down a flight of steps at a home he rented in Georgia. The news service of Westin Hotels and Resorts. They offer running gear to their guests. Why? It's not to help you race to catch your flight, so you can pack less and work out more while on the road, because they know what a runaround travel can be. Westin Workout Gear Lending. Westin, let's rise. 6:35 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Cabela's Fishing Classic, new products, amazing deals. Your one stop before the water. Get 25% off all Rapala tools, lures, and tackle bags in store and online at Cabela's.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, today's opponents on Man vs. Train. At the crossing, we have Rick, a 175-pound frustrated man who's running late for work. And on the tracks, we have Bull, a million-pound freight train that takes a mile to stop. Let's see who comes out on top.
You can't beat a train, so don't try. Stop. Trains can't. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Napa know-how.
The Napa Bucket is on sale for $2.99. It's engineered from high-quality plastic, and it comes with a metal handle to make it portable. You're probably thinking, that sounds like any old bucket, but it's not, because regular buckets don't get you 20% off almost anything you put in it. So pick up a Napa Bucket today and get 20% off the parts you need. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Minimum 3 items. Some exclusions apply. Offer good while supplies last.
Hey Chicagoland, the construction season is here and it's gearing up to be a good one. About time, right? And we need to start getting our ducks in a row. So maybe you're concerned about the assets in your drafting department. Or maybe you are the asset and you'd rather be in the field than at your desk. Whatever the case, no need to worry. Draft Tech has got your back. Whether it's piping, electrical, plumbing, or mechanical, we've got experienced designers and drafters that can add value to any project. We've got the software, AutoCAD, Revit, SolidWorks, Inventor, and Plant 3D. We've got MEP and Navisworks to help guide you through the BIM waters. We've got 3D scanners that create a perfect model of your pre-project space so you can say goodbye to project-killing ads and reworks. So whether you're a big company with more projects than people or a small contractor trying to move up the food chain, Draft Tech has got you covered. Check us out at draftingresults.com. That's Draft Tech at draftingresults.com. Draft Tech, cutting-edge technology, old-school service.
6:37, a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim.
Thanks, Mike. In the loop, Randolph and Franklin remain blocked off due to the cracked window at a high-rise. Edens is 22 minutes, like Cook to Montrose, outbound 21. Kennedy, 29 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 20. The Eisenhower, 36 minutes from Thorndale to the loop, outbound 33. Stevenson, 42 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 37. The Rhine is 26 minutes, 95 to downtown. Traffic service, Staples. HP Savings Month at Staples means big savings on great HP products all month long. Now, buy one HP ink and get the second at 40% off and experience the outstanding print quality of HP ink. Ends 4/8. Restrictions apply. See staples.com/HP month. Staples. Make more happen. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560. The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Sunny and 56. Tonight, get out your telescopes. Jupiter will be brighter tonight than any other night of the year. Right as it starts to rise in the eastern sky at sunset, we'll have partly cloudy skies and a low of 39 overnight. 34 right now. Next news coming up at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Turnkey IT, giving you the freedom to focus on your business while they handle the technical stuff. Turnkey IT.
Your money. Find out how to keep more of it and live debt-free. Tonight on The Dave Ramsey Show, starting at 7 on AM 560. The Answer.
Dan and Amy, we haven't done a Campus Watch segment in a while, and the stories are piling up, so we've got to apprise you of the state of higher education, especially those with kids in college or thinking about sending their kids to college, like Miss Jacobson.
Which conference? Are we starting with the Big Ten, Pac-12, SEC? Where do you want to go?
Let's do Big East. This is a quick one. Villanova student shaved her head to help confront her hair privilege.
I saw that.
As well as society's oppressive gender norms. Yes, I hate society. I'm not a big fan of being oppressed, and I don't like it, said Yvonne Nguyen in a Facebook Live video. Oh, there's Facebook Live again.
Oh, see?
Where she
Shut it down so we don't have to watch that.
Where she shaved her head on camera to a Beyonce song.
No, everyone's... Well, she shaved it like Britney Spears, you know. She just went right at it, right for the root.
Miss Cueball, shaving my head enabled me to be reflective of ways society forces me to conform to labels that I didn't choose. Shaving my head liberated me. She's free, as I allowed myself to be faithful to my values and genuine self. Finally, she's living her truth.
Oh.
So apparently somebody was forcing her to grow her hair long previous to this. Okay.
I hope she donated her hair to Locks of Love.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that would have been a good reason to shave your head, to donate it to cancer patients who lost their hair because of chemotherapy.
These unweaning narcissists are only thinking about themselves. They're not thinking about anybody else, so it's unlikely. Here's this, too. Stanford University.
Oh,
the admission at Stanford is like 5% of applicants. It's one of the toughest in the nation. How do you get into Stanford, you might be thinking?
Yeah, how do you get into Stanford?
How can my kid get into Stanford? You know, good grades, perfect SAT score. Or you can do this.
You do have to donate your time, though, to the community, too.
Well, sure.
You have to show that you're philanthropic.
Or you can just do this, what this New Jersey student did, Zayed Ahmed, who responded to the question, what matters to you and why, on the application. He decided to use the opportunity to write hashtag Black Lives Matter 100 times in response to that essay question. I didn't think I would get admitted to Stanford at all, but it's quite refreshing to see that they view my unapologetic activism as an asset rather than a liability. Ahmed, who is Muslim, said he hopes to use his time in college to continue to support the Black Lives Matter movement. That's why you go to Stanford. I also recognize black students are often systematically disenfranchised educationally, and it's my duty to fight to change that. Yeah, I know it's tough for poor Zayed. He has to go to Stanford now. Probably getting a scholarship. Black Lives Matter 100 times admitted to Stanford because of that, in spite of it. What do you think? Probably because.
Because of it, yeah. It's a provocative move. You know, he shows that he's down with the struggle, that he'd be a diverse student there at Stanford.
So this is interesting what he said. They view my unapologetic activism as an asset rather than a liability. This is the state of these totalitarian re-education centers. They're not institutions of higher learning. their political institutions for activists, both in the professorate and for students, particularly those students they identify from their applications as furthering the political nature of those institutions. I just thought that was interesting.
Then we have Northern Arizona University.
The Lumberjacks.
Yes, have you ever been up there? Gorgeous Flagstaff, beautiful this time of year.
Oh,
but
boy.
a Northern Arizona student, she lost credit, Dan, on an English paper. Here's what she did. She used the word mankind instead of a gender-neutral alternative.
I hope she failed.
Caitlin Jeffers, an English major, told Campus Reform that she received an email from one of her professors, Dr. Ann Scott, informing her that she had been docked 1 point out of a possible 50 on a recent paper because she used the wrong word. Instead of mankind, she should have used the synonym humanity.
What about G-kind?
I don't know. I mean, the professor, because they reached out to her, she said, well, I'd be negligent as a professor who's running a class about human condition and the assumptions we make about being human.
I don't know
if I did not also raise this issue of gendered language.
Well, I think the professor is not living up to her responsibilities on campus, docking her 1 point for being a anti-feminist female hater, as evidenced by her coarse language. That's a start. But in terms of really driving home the message and properly ensuring that her vocabulary will change permanently, I mean, I think there's some sensitivity training that should be required.
Well, she said the words we use matter, Dan, or else teachers would not be making an issue of this at all. She wants students to respect the need for gender-neutral language. She did offer her to revise the paper to get that 1 point of credit back, just so you know. So no word yet if she's going to do it. Maybe that'll be your spring break assignment.
All right, cross Northern Arizona off the list for the kids. You can also cross Columbia off, as if you hadn't already.
Yeah, that's been docked 5 times already.
Well, this is talk about the poor man's Ivy League school. I'm sorry.
Oh.
The poor humanities Ivy League. What's the word? Columbia University has set aside rooms in a student center exclusively reservable for Black and LGBTQMNOSB student groups. The student council there, and their infinite enlightenment, approved a petition for rooms at the university that will be specifically dedicated to Black and LGBTQ student groups to provide more institutional support, staff, resources, funding, space, etc.
So it's an official safe space.
Right.
On safe spaces, do they have on the heading safe space for LGBTQ and MLPST?
If you're wondering, well, I mean, if these student groups aren't using it, couldn't
somebody else use it?
Couldn't a group that is, I don't know.
Well, a pro-life movement group.
Well, or no, but I mean, this is a group by identity, by race and orientation identity, right? That's what they're doing. So couldn't a group that doesn't have that diversity use it if they're not using it? No. Columbia boasts about having a diverse student body, explained one of the future totalitarians in training there. But the Columbia students who create the diversity are not properly cared for.
Oh.
So this is a caring expression. Okay. In this, Northwestern.
Oh, your alma mater.
Glad for Northwestern is getting back to their sweet spot here. Their little run in the tournament had the value of my degree increasing slightly. This will correct that. There was you remember a bit of a rape crisis at Northwestern.
Oh, at the Sigma Alpha, SAE, which turned out not to be the case, but nobody reported the follow-up.
Right.
Nobody said that no charges are going to be filed and they can continue on with their chapter. No one mentioned it.
School Vice President for Student Affairs, Patricia Tellis-Irvin, she had to report there were no actual victims, no witnesses, no physical evidence or electronic evidence or any other kind of evidence that any such event involving any such women ingesting any such drugs or suffering any such sexual assaults ever occurred, despite the fact that you had the Sun-Times and the Tribune reporting quote-unquote crisis. The Sun-Times headline, "Nerves are raw." Local TV stations in Chicago were talking about date rape drugs.
Oh, it made the cable news channels.
Right.
It gave the SAE a bad name, and their chapter they're headquartered in Evanston on campus.
Northwestern offered support for survivors of this incident.
Yeah.
Survivors.
It was 5 chicks who started a rumor
of this incident that didn't occur. And by the way, lest anybody learn any lessons from the faux rape story out of University of Virginia that Rolling Stone perpetrated, and for which Rolling Stone is having to pay out millions of dollars in defamation and libel claims.
Or the Duke lacrosse team.
Or the Duke lacrosse case. Talis Irvin saying last week, prompt and thorough investigation was done. No disciplinary action or further investigative action related to the reports of sexual misconduct will be taken at this time.
And the kids, the young men who live in that fraternity can go back to their fraternity.
Although, instead of admitting the whole thing was a hoax, Northwestern is scouring the fraternity, SAE.
Oh, you're kidding me.
For, quote, other potential violations, unquote, of campus codes to justify putting them through what they put them through in the first place, to victimize them all over again.
Well, they put them on probation. That's a big deal.
Michelle Malkin, writing about this, raises a good point. Why any mom would pay to send her son into this anti-male maelstrom is beyond me. I'd ask famous Hollywood lefty Julia Louis-Dreyfus, whose son plays basketball at Northwestern and is an SAE member, what she thinks of the toxic rape culture zealots targeting innocent men on campus. But she's apparently too busy modeling her militant feminist pea hat on Instagram to take notice.
I did not know her son was an SAE.
How about it?
Wow.
How about it? It's a great point Malkin raises. And, here's where this all ends, and I hope it ends for all these schools that we mentioned. This story out of Mizzou.
Oh, no.
University of Missouri.
I have two loved ones going there.
Oh, this is the football team boycotting and all that. The whole Black Lives Matter.
And the sit-in and then.
To the nth degree.
Marsha Clark, or whatever her name was.
Marsha Clark.
Marsha Clark, I'm sorry. That's what
Melissa
Click.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
University of Missouri is continuing to see a decline in enrollment, resulting in 3 dorms shutting down.
Yeah,
Residential Life Director Frankie Miner said in an email that historically every year between now and August, various situations occur that result in position openings, normal attrition, voluntary. So they're trying to come up with a cover story. The point is that they're hemorrhaging enrollment, and they're hemorrhaging money associated with hemorrhaging enrollment. So I hope Missouri ceases to exist, even though they just hired Cuonzo Martin as their new basketball coach. Cindy and Joliet, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, Dan. Hi, Amy. I just want to give all these colleges a suggestion as a moneymaker, since they're all cash-strapped.
Yeah, sure.
Put out pacifier machines, vending machines outside these safe rooms.
There you go.
A little blankie machine where they can just pop in a few bucks and pull out their next comfort item. So.
There you go. Thanks for the call, Cindy. Right, sure. Pacifiers and binkies with some of your leftover student loan money.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
So that's 3 more dorms besides the 3 that we told you about last year.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, boy. Maybe that's why my niece got in. Just kidding. I love you, Catherine Moore. Today, plenty of sunshine, a high of 56 degrees. Then tonight, partly cloudy, low 39. And your weekend looks spectacular. Saturday, mostly sunny, breezy, a high of 68 degrees. And on Sunday, it's just going to be really warm, summer-like conditions. We're going to have some clouds, some sun, and a high of 76 degrees. Let's get into our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thank you, Amy. Thanks, Dan. Well, you shouldn't really need a pacifier to get through traffic today. It's really not too tough for the most part. Eden's just 24 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 23. The Kennedy, 29 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 26. The Eisenhower holding at about 44 minutes. Thorndale to downtown, outbound 33. Getting heavy on the Stevenson thanks to that road work at Lakeshore Drive. 50 minutes is the travel time from 3:55 to the drive. The delays start around Harlem. Outbound, it's 40 minutes to 3:55. The Rhine is 26 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 27 minutes, I-80 to the merge. Bishop Ford, 18. Lakeshore Drive, much lighter than normal. Just a little congestion around the Stevenson. Northbound Tri-State, stop and go from the Mile Long Bridge to Ogden, and from the Reagan Tollway to the Grand Avenue Curve. Reagan Tollway just a bit tight, Farnsworth to Eola. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
I'm Lou Dobbs. GM is holding off its 2017 forecast. The U.S. trade deficit with China plummeting as President Trump meets with China's president. Mortgage interest rates moving lower. Those stories next. Hi, folks. Are you an individual or business who owes at least $10,000 to the IRS? Are your wages being garnished? Has your bank account been levied? Do you have years of unfiled tax returns and you're losing sleep at night worrying about it all? Rapid Resolution Tax Group is a team of tax attorneys, enrolled agents, and tax professionals who have helped thousands of people with problems just like yours. They're accredited with the Better Business Bureau and they guarantee same-day contact with the IRS. If you qualify, Rapid Resolution Tax Group can work towards settling your tax debt for less, removing penalties and fees, and stopping levies and garnishments. They're not intimidated by the IRS, and they promise not to let the IRS intimidate you. Call the professionals at Rapid Resolution Tax Group. They're at 800-601-2929. 800-601-2929. That's 800-601-2929. The Commerce Department reporting the trade deficit fell sharply in February. Imports from China down by a record amount as U.S. exports rose for a third month in a row. The news broke as President Trump was playing host to China's president with trade issues at the top of their agenda. Long-term mortgage interest rates fell this week for a third straight week. Freddie Mac reporting the average rate on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage fell to 4.10%. That's the lowest rate so far this year. Economic reports today. Updates on national employment statistics, wholesale trade, and consumer credit. GM holding off releasing its 2017 profit forecast because sales are off to a slow start and car inventories are rising. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 and 11 Eastern, on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
And Dan, you know, two of those dorms at Mizzou that closed, one was named Respect and the other one Excellence.
Well, Excellence certainly deserved to be closed.
Well, hey, just a few weeks ago, our AM 560 business tour stopped at More Kiss Chocolates in Palatine. And really, thanks to all of our listeners who stopped by to say hello. And we had a great time, and we learned a lot about this excellent company from the owner, Rhonda Morcus. Her grandfather founded the company in 1920. Now, the samples that Rhonda shared with us were amazing. We're also intrigued to learn about Morcus's Chocolates parties. That's right. They have a party room in the back of Morcus Chocolates in Palatine where you can experience the chocolate creations hands-on. Then you can take your chocolate creations home, and it's not just for kids. Oh, no. Think about group outings, birthday parties, office parties. I think we are even scheduled to celebrate Dan Proft's birthday there. So there's nowhere else like Morcus Chocolates. Go to morkischocolates.com. That's MORKES chocolates.com for more information, or call 847-359-3454. Again, that's 847-359-3454, or visit morkischocolates.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I'm telling you right now, it's awesome. I was trying to get my blood pressure regulated, okay? And like after 3 days of